back and looking at it on video, we knew we were going to have to be flawless to go down there to have a chance to get that game into the fourth quarter. We were going to have to play our best football of the year over the last 2 weeks, and in particular last week, and we were unable to do that. Entirely too many mistakes in all phases. You can't put yourself behind that quick against an excellent opponent, and we did. And there were some positives. I thought our entire team fought. They gave great effort all the way through. There was no quit. Traylon Burks, you can look at one play and see it, sum it up with Traylon Burks on an interception and watching his effort as he ran and gave great effort diving at the 1 yard line. And that's a challenge to all our players to continue to push, to give effort in all phases like that. And we got guys that are, and they're fighting hard. We got an opportunity to get some guys some more reps in the second half. And they did show some improvement, flashes of improvement. But again, we've got to continue to develop these guys. We're going the month of November with 4 games remaining. 3 of the 4 in front of our home crowd. And, our guys were back in here last night and ready to go. Get back at home this week. Our focus is just getting this football team better through the month of November and ready to play Mississippi State this Saturday. Mississippi State comes in as a team that's much better than their record. They've lost their last 4 games, but they got one of the best running attacks in the SEC. They got the league's leading rusher and a quarterback that's extremely mobile. And as I said, one of the top rushing attacks. They're very creative on defense as far as the pressures that they bring. They got 6 offensive starters back. As again, Hill is an extremely gifted and talented running back, just a junior. He's shifty, he's powerful, and that combination with him and Garrett Schrader, the true freshman quarterback, definitely make that a very, very tough running attack. And defensively, they got 3 returning starters, and their linebacking core is very sound. They're athletic.
Welcome in. It's our Monday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio here on KDSJ 479. It's our Monday recap as we're going to really delve off into Arkansas's 48-7 loss this past weekend to the number 1 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide in Bryant-Denny Stadium. And one thing that I can say, Chad Morris and the offensive staff and the entire staff, listen up. It's time to move on. Let's go into the youth movement. Now you have 4 games. KJ Hill, we need to see a KJ Hill sighting. I'd like to see a Monte Spivey. KJ Jefferson, I'm so sorry. Monte Spivey. I want to see a Hudson Henry. I want to see some of these younger guys. Let's see Taurean Carter and Enoch Jackson. Let's get those guys in. What came out today. True freshman, D-tackle. Bubba Miller will no longer be out. He'll be out the duration of the year as he went down with an ACL tear. Had surgery just this past Friday. So our thoughts and prayers will be with young Marcus Miller for a speedy recovery so he can come back and help the program and to the best of his ability. But it's time. It's time to tell some of the other guys. You want guys like Devois, Raheem, McTelvin, probably Gabe Richardson. You look at maybe Jamario Bell, Scooter Harris, Cheyenne O'Grady. You look at those seniors and those potential juniors that will be moving to the next level, and you play them. But outside of that, it's time to go. All 52 underclassmen should get playing time, Demetrius. All 52 of your underclassmen, you listen up, Chad, all 52 of the young bucks need to be playing now. They need to be playing now. Now, I know you have 3 or 4 left on the schedule. This team is not going to be a team that goes bowling. Don't believe so, because I don't believe that they'll have enough to go to Baton Rouge and beat a team which I consider to be the best team in college football right now with a dynamic offense. Defense is not up to the standard that a Dave Aranda coach defense would be, but still yet, it'll be quite enough to win that game down there in Baton Rouge on the 23rd of this month. But, Demetrius, it's time. It's time. You see out and about town, I drove by the Grease Pig, and right on their stand, KJ Jefferson. And we talk about it in the media. It's the most talked about question in all of Arkansas football. And I'm going to say this, point blank period, the quarterback position here at the University of Arkansas has this program handcuffed, just like that, handcuffed. You can't get anywhere when you don't have a quarterback. It's just like having a great point guard or having a great pitcher. They can go out and control the pitcher's mound. When the point guard, pitcher, or the quarterback is not in sync, I don't care what talent you got, it's all going to look bad, because we saw that on Saturday night. Very poor quarterback play. Not from Stephen Jones, but very, very poor quarterback play up to that point with Nick Starkel. I've watched the young man, maybe a great kid off the field, but some of the body language and the accountability that I see on the football field when there's very silly turnovers, something I can't take anymore. And if I was Chad Morris and that staff, there's no way that that would be acceptable. Where are you at? I'm just calling like I said. It's time to go youth movement now from here on out.
Man, I've been calling it like I seen it since last year, and I saw, I was a big proponent of saying that Chad has to make that aggressive move last year, because I kept telling you I didn't want Chad to be in this exact predicament that he's in now. I didn't want him to go into year 3 having not wanting any SEC games or games that could have him solidified in the fans' mind as a coach that can take them to the promised land. After having that Brett Bielema era, people, it's been 6 years since we have had a decent season, and I knew Chad was already going to have the pressure of what Bielema left him. Bielema left on a bad end of having 2 bad seasons, so I knew it was going to be even more pressure for the next guy that come in, and for Chad to still have not won that yet one significant game, and then the club dub wins that he does have aren't good at all, and the ones that you thought he should have been in club dub, he wasn't in at all. So I think he's in a very, 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 very tough predicament, because this is a time thing, and I think he should have went youth movement now, because when you look at the guys that he has on the field for this year, they would have been more prepared. When you look at the Buster Browns that I thought should have been getting playing time last year. And again, I'm telling you, Ryan Pulley really hurt this defense leaving. I think if you have Ryan Pulley, you have a couple of these other guys that you could rotate in and got some play for him last year. I think you would, even losing Dorian Gerald. At looking back last year, in hindsight, I didn't think
there's some
Gerald,
secondary people I think need to have their jobs taken. I'm at the point when you lose 16 conference games in a row, you've got to be real honest and be real with yourself. I hear time and time again this staff says that the effort was there. I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing a team that gives up 41 points in the first half. I don't see very much effort. I saw Traylon Burks try to run down a guy, but that was the only white shirt that I saw try to stop the man from scoring. That's the effort. It's time for everyone in that entire building, in that entire program, to sit down and truly watch the tape. Truly watch the tape and be real with yourself and be real with the fans and us here in the media. I'm not seeing half of the effort. I don't see. I really don't see. I'm not going to sit there and say that there's effort when I don't. 41 points. Man, understand, it was 24 given up, and you can't give up 4 turnovers, 24 points to the number 1 ranked team. Make no bones about it. But when you start having the backups come in and the third team guy comes in and moves the ball, that's not going to get it. That's not going to get it at all. You gotta, if you're Arkansas, you gotta stop being the whipping boy in the SEC. Week in and week out, there's been, your question of effort, coaching. When is enough enough? Demetrius, that's what I'm trying to figure out. When is enough enough? I've covered this program. We've rolled this program out for the last 5 years. I'm seeing a program that doesn't know how to win. And I'm not going to blame the players. I'm not going to blame the players at all. They have some of it, but there's also, it's a 50-50 thing. There's some coaching, and I think if kids are better than certain kids, then they need to be playing. Now, in hindsight, you go back and say you play KJ at the beginning of the year. That's all past us now. That's past us. We can't go back 8 more games. Those games are gone. It is what it is. But what we can do right now is go forward with making sure guys like Devois Whaley, Raheem Boyd, Amonte Spivey will be your 3 running backs for the duration of this year, because you got to get Raheem and Devois more film, because I think those 2 guys have a chance to play at the next level and play at a high level at the next level. I think if you're talking about McTelvin Agim, you want to get him more film. You want to get Gabe and Jamario and Scooter. But outside of that, it's time to put people on the bench. They're too small, in my opinion, at linebacker.
You know, Pat, I hate to say it, but all those names you named been playing all year.
And I think you know, there's certain little 4th-year juniors and guys that shouldn't be out there. I'm just gonna be honest. You got to start playing playmakers and really trying. You stress about changing the program and changing the culture. Well, you got to make some of those tough decisions.
So what do you think about guys that you know are injured out there that are still playing? Is it time to
absolutely
sit them down?
Absolutely,
because you got guys like Fouché that's playing out there with a banged up shoulder.
Absolutely, and had 13 tackles. Your free safety, 13 tackles. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
your free safety should never have that many tackles. If he's got 13 tackles, that means there's a lot going on in front of him that is not acceptable. And you just got to turn the tape on. Just turn the tape on. Sit there and really be honest. I know these are 18, 19-year-old kids, and I'm not talking about them as kids away from. But I got to grade them on what I see on the football field each and every Saturday. That's what I got to go by. And right now, that's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it. You got beat by 41 points back-to-back weekends as a program. When is that enough? There shouldn't be one quiet, sane person over in the Smith Center, from the coaches all the way to the players to the managers. Nobody over there should be walking around like nothing's going on. This should be the most uncomfortable, or one of the most uncomfortable buildings in all of Fayetteville, Arkansas, and pretty much the entire state. Pretty much. You lost 16 in a row. 16 in a row. When is it going to stop is what I'm trying to figure out, Demetrius. When do we put a stake in the ground and you play the best players? I see so many freshmen across the country. You're playing another true freshman quarterback next week here in Fayetteville. Explain that one to me. You have a 6'4", 228, 230-pound, 4-star quarterback that has not touched the field that could possibly, you keep talking about a spark, that may be your spark, Demetrius. It's clear. We saw what the young John Stephen Jones can do. Let's try the other youth. I did a study, and between the 4 quarterbacks that we've stayed with for the last 2 years, Arkansas has over almost 30 interceptions at that position. That's horrible. That's horrible. Now, you have great talent at wide receiver, tight end, running back. Offensive line, there's still a lot to be desired at that spot, but you still have a few pieces that you can count on for the future going forward. But at that,
I actually thought the offensive line showed a little spark. There was a guy that filled in, Myron Cunningham. He played a pretty good game.
It was also noted today that Colton Jackson will be stepping away from football due to just the multitude of injuries. He and his family met with Coach Chad Morris, as he shared with us in today's media day, and Colton will be stepping away. Will still be on scholarship, be around the program, but the on-the-field work he will no longer be a part of. And, our thoughts and prayers and wishes go out to Colton for a very, very successful career after football. As like I said, he's a great young man. He's a great young man. But we're in the business of winning football games at the end of the day. And I don't know how much longer the Wolves will stay away from, Chad and that staff. But I think Saturday, Demetrius, I think there's going to be a lot in these next 2 games as to how that staff fares going forward. In my humble opinion, I think these 2 games will tell the tale of which direction Yurachek and that those board of trustees might go. I mean, it's real big now. I mean, it's bigger than Chad. It's about getting wins, and this fan base and the higher up seeing true improvement.
And really, when you look at the schedule, it's only 3 games possible that they can win. LSU will have to come out and play the worst game possible for them to get another win, but it's only looking like that Mississippi State game, that Western Kentucky, and that Missouri game that they have a possibility of even winning. So again, Chad's gonna have to buckle down, and that's why I've been saying on the show all week and pretty much all this year, Chad is putting his future in too many people's hands. As the head coach, you have to know how to make those tough decisions and know how, if you're going to go down sinking, I'm going to go down sinking the way I want to, how I want to, the way I want to look. So if it caused me to play guys nobody else thought, should be playing, I'm going to do that. If it takes me from taking the clipboard from, Joe Craddock when he's calling bad plays, that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to stress to every player on that team, you guys aren't going to lose my job. You guys' performance on the field is what's going to keep my job. So I'm going to make sure I do everything. If I have to do up downs the whole entire practice for people to understand that, we have to get a win this year. We have to show these fans that we're still in the game and that I still do have a vision for this program. I think he has to stretch that, and until he can relay that at a practice and have that sense of urgency, I think you're still going to get that same result that you see on the field.
I agree with that, and I'll add even more. I think the biggest change and it's not going to happen until Arkansas goes and gets some dudes on the offensive and defensive lines. I mean, we all know, as long as we've been in the SEC, as Arkansas have it, I think since '92, it's an offensive and defensive line league. It's an offensive and that's the way it's always been, and it will always be that way. And Arkansas has to really focus in on signing a large group of defensive and offensive linemen. That's the one position, the two positions I think that have to improve, and you have to do something at the quarterback spot. But to me, the biggest thing is the quarterback holding you back, but also too, you add the offensive and defensive lines. Just not enough dudes on the inside. Now, Arkansas at the defensive end, I think the future is going to be really, really bright going forward. I like a couple of the guys, Ricky Stromborg, Bo Limmer, Brady Latham. Those are a couple of guys on the offensive line that you would really, really get excited about. Also, Noah Gatling was a guy I thought was a major loss at the right tackle spot. The first day of practice, fall camp for the Razorbacks, I think he could be a major impact. But you just don't have enough. You have to create depth in these offensive and defensive lines because, when you look at it, guys, Arkansas, when they get in those 20s, Demetrius, you always see the more physical defensive lines impose their will, or on the vice versa, the imposing offensive lines impose their will on the defensive line. And that's where you have to improve. I mean, not an offensive line commit in this class, which I think that will change as Arkansas will be hosting big-time offensive lineman out of Mobile, Alabama, St. Episcopal High School, Brady Ward, 6'8", 310, and Under Armour. Army All-American will be in Fayetteville this week for his official visit. Had a chance to talk with him. We'll be having a sit down and let you hear what Brady has to say as the week progresses on. Also, too, got to get better, I think, in secondary. There are certain players I just don't think should be playing, and we won't call any names, but this team's got to get better. And Chad continues to say it's not who we play, but how we play. You have to play to win the game. Now, they said they want to win it, but we'll see. Because you play the young guys, play people that will give you the best chance of winning. From based on what I see at workouts, fall camp to now, there's a few positions that need to have an upgrade, and I mean an upgrade ASAP. But the one thing I want this team to upgrade is the effort. The effort. Because what I saw Saturday, Traylon Burks, they get a pick six and only one white jersey, busting his ass to get down and make a play. That could never be that's unacceptable. Unacceptable. And if Chad Moore should have been down there, I mean, all 10 of the guys that didn't hustle, he should have been on that sideline raising Cain. Like I said, it should be the most uncomfortable building right now in the state of Arkansas. It's the biggest moneymaker in all your athletic programs. But it's the biggest disappointment right now, and it's the product. And sometimes you can see effort. And that's all anybody, this fan base or media or anyone, all you want to see is effort. Compete. You don't want to see 31 points. Demetrius, 31 points. You're the defensive coordinator. What's the mood in the locker room at halftime if you're the defensive coordinator? Because I know the mood if I'm the defensive coordinator. I know exactly what type of mood I'm going to be in. We done had a whole new 11. Just point blank, period, is what I would have been in. We'd have had a whole new 11. Nick Starker would have never got back on that field. 10 interceptions. And you haven't started every single game. 10. And I just continue to see the poor footwork, the nonchalant attitude on the turnovers. Where's the emotion? Where's the emotion? Now, my granddad always said, to me, so I was saying nice people finish last. There's too much niceness going on. I want to see the boat get shook up a little bit. There's too many comfortable people in that building, and the boat just needs to get shook up a little bit. People need to be worried about their jobs, both as a player and as a coach. And any administrative person over there. There needs to, that's I see that sign over there. It's a privilege and honor to coach play. Well, that needs to be held to a high standard. You know what I'm saying? Don't just put it on the wall and don't live by it. We gotta. University of Arkansas has to have a major culture upgrade in that football program. I like the things, and let's make no mistake about it. I don't want to sit there and say it's all Chad because he came into a not so good situation, but at the same time, you can only use that excuse for so long. You can only use it for so long.
Absolutely, and I think fans are, letting that, excuse run out. People are thinking, you've had the time, and it's not even the production on the field. I think it's the situational control that I think people really don't like. It's the management of the team, the management of the game. I think people understand that we don't have the talent, and Arkansas has never had all that raw talent that you see some of these top tier teams have, like a LSU. It might be every 5 to 10 years that we do have that caliber of team where we can compete on a high level. But I think from a fan perspective, we understand we don't have the players. We understand Chad hasn't been here, but pretty much 1.5 recruiting classes, one full term, that being that first year where he came in at the end of it. And I think where we don't like is that you don't see the progress from game to game. You don't actually see where the team is getting better. And I know people can say, "Oh, hey, let's look at the numbers," but sometimes numbers can be very, very misleading, right. And you have to give it the eye test, and you have to give it the personal experience and what you see on the field. And right now, it's just not looking good. A lot of people say this doesn't even look like a Division I program when Arkansas gets on the field with some of these teams.
Granted, I think I'll take Arkansas's wide receiver core, and I'll put them in the SEC up against any rival SEC wide receiver core, Alabama's included. But I'm gonna put an asterisk by that. If given the proper quarterback and the proper offensive line, these guys can play with anybody in the country. But like I said, it goes back to the quarterback. Not being consistent at that position causes confusion throughout your entire team. And that's been the case the last 2 years. The inconsistency at quarterback has had this football team silly turnovers, defense having to defend short fields over and over and over. And then the defense being in a situation where they feel like they have to create turnovers. So when the offense gets back out there, they're pressing. And then turnovers against Arkansas happens over and over. It's just the quarterback spot is the most disappointing position on the entire football team. And I think it's time to go with John Stephen Jones. I'd like to see John Stephen start, and I like to see KJ. I want to see a 2-quarterback system, but I want those two, in my opinion. Number 9 and number 13 should be the only 2 numbers that take any reps in the Mississippi State ball game. Now, that probably won't happen, which to me is a head scratcher. It's to the point where it's time. It's just time. Throwing close to 30 interceptions in 2 years at that position. I don't know what else needs to be said. I don't know what tapes they're looking at. I just know it's time. You got to do something better. You got to do something better. Too much skill position. You got 4 stars at wide receiver, 5 stars at tight end, 4 stars at quarterback and running back in the freshman class. It's time to put them all out there. Come up with a package just like you did with John Stephen Jones, or just like Mac Jones. Alabama did with Mac on Saturday. If you want to do it for KJ with him being a freshman, come up with a package. Work the quick screen game. Get the balls to the Traylon Burks and the Trey Knox and Mike Woods and Coyle and T.J. Hammonds, Davion Warrens, and let them, be able to, get yards after the catch. How about that? Is that something you like to see? Because it's ironic. One receiver caught a pass in that game Saturday night in Tuscaloosa. One receiver. Unacceptable. Now, mind you, he's the best receiver on the team, and he's one of the elite tight ends in all of college football in C.J. O'Grady. But there's more weapons than C.J. O'Grady. You know, and you hate to say it, Demetrius, but Alabama kind of pumped the brakes a little bit.
Definitely, you know, that's why I can't get over exuberant about John Stephen Jones' performance. I do think he played a good game for to not have a lot of reps. I think he did show his poise, and he did show good decision making, right. But he just didn't show me that athleticism. Even when he broke out of the pocket, sometimes he just looked unorthodox to me running, and he just looked uncomfortable, and I kind of seen it. And even from an Alabama perspective, even the defense looked like they were kind of pumped the brakes off him a little bit and wasn't really going 100% when you talk about effort. Maybe I'm wrong, but just watching it just kind of looked like, okay, this game is out of reach. We know we kind of won it. We just don't need to make any mistakes to let them score. You know, they did give up that one score to C.J. Grady, like you said, with that one catch. But outside of that, you know, Alabama's defense really didn't have to work too hard, even when John Stephen Jones came in the game.
Yeah, so. I mean, you can't give nobody 4 turnovers and 24 points off of it. I mean, you still lose 24-7, granted, but you can't 4 turnovers, 24 points off those turnovers. I mean, this team has just, and like I said, goes back to the quarterback. The decisions that have been made throughout the season have been so hurtful to this team defensively, offensively, and you can just see as the game wears on the morale of a lot of the receivers and running backs. I mean, you know, Mike Woods straight down the seam on Saturday night, balls completely thrown over his head. I mean, but there's just been lack of footwork. The attention to detail is something I want them to get better at. The attention to detail and make it mean something to you at quarterback, that you don't want to let your teammates down, because that's what's been going on at that position for 2 years. For 2 years. That position has got to get better, or listen, Chad Morris will be fired next year. If that quarterback position does not get better, we'll have a new coach at the end of next season. You can mark it down. We'll have a new coach at the end of the year if the quarterback position does not improve. You hate to blame, but somebody got to take the blame, and that falls on your OC quarterback coach. Somebody has to take the blame for the underdevelopment of at that position to this point.
And I think the only thing that can really save it, because I think Chad has the skill positions, and this was one thing I said about Chad. Chad, calm down, recruiting wide receivers. Focus on that O-line. I think you need to go get some grown men from JUCO. I know there's some JUCO guys in that can come fit in right away. Maybe not play the most consistent play, but they can definitely help your youth at the quarterback position feel a lot more comfortable. Like you said, Pat, not trying to make it a black and white thing, but they're going to have to go get some color on their line. They're going to have to
Man, real talk. That's just real talk. That's being honest, guys. I mean, there's no racists on this station. Absolutely not. But we going to shoot it real. And if you're not watching the SEC as a landscape from a fan's perspective, you got your head in the sand. This is all about being real. This is the Southeastern Conference. Last time I checked.
No, you're right. I'm just calling it like it is. And even when you go look across the rosters at starting offensive lines, the proof is in the pudding. People say they want to look at facts and they want to look at numbers. Just go take a look and flip through your SEC roster and look at the rosters on the offensive line, and you're going to see the point in the fact that we're trying to make that Arkansas is going to have to go get some diversity on that line to really help improve the quarterback play, because right now I don't think they have an answer at the quarterback position. I do think KJ can fill that void, but if not given the opportunity, what I've seen so far, they don't have the quarterback on campus to really win any big-time close games.
That being said, who wins this weekend? Because I think this is more important.
Man, that being said, I'm hoping Arkansas win. You know, we got Bankroll Freddie coming to town.
I think it's more about.
I need Arkansas to win. I got a big concert.
All depends on the quarterback. Because I mean, as much as I said, if Starkle or Hicks is your starting quarterback, I don't give Arkansas a good chance to win that game.
And I think Chad plays it safe. You know, if it's me, Chad's going to play John Stephen Jones to save his job, and it's a good political move when you look at it. I'm giving the fans what they want.
This is a PR thing, though.
Exactly. It's a good
PR issue. I mean, when you're talking to kids, and I had a conversation with multiple kids this whole weekend, and that was one of the main questions that was posed to me was, Mr. Pat, are they going to play KJ? Are they going to play KJ Jefferson? I don't know. Should they play him? Of course. Will they? We don't know. But I think you're going to hear a lot of a disgruntled fan base at Donald W. on Saturday if they don't get a glimpse of number 13. This kid's already – you're going to secure his red shirt. I mean, as of Saturday, when you got on the plane, you knew that you could give him 4 games. And I want to kind of get him out there, Mississippi State, Western Kentucky, and take him into an environment like LSU to see how he'll respond, because now you can get a gauge of his temperature, how he can command the offense and just the temperament of that offense as a whole. And I think that's something you need to really check out. I mean, if KJ Jefferson's going to be your future, and I think this young man could really be the type of quarterback to enhance Arkansas's program on the national level, not just in the SEC, but on the national level. This guy has a calmness about him that when I'm around him, I see the other players gravitating. I think he would be one of those type of quarterbacks that some elite wide receivers, tight ends, offensive linemen, running backs would want to come in here and play with a guy like KJ Jefferson because of his maturity and his temperament. Those are all things that I like to see. And I've watched him in fall camp. I've watched him as the scout team. I've watched him, and I think the young man's ready. I mean, he's 6'4", 230-pound freshman. You got to play him. If you play him, what's the worst thing can happen? Two true freshmen are going to be at quarterback spots on Saturday. Two true freshmen, and I think it's time. Yeah, it's just time.
And like I say, I'm saying this. Chad's gonna look like the bad guy next year if he comes in and he gets his son some playing time. I'm just gonna put that out right now. If Chad comes in and his son finds some way to get on the field as a freshman, people are going to raise an eyebrow at him and say, okay, now last year you were just saying KJ Jefferson was not ready and built for the SEC. So you can't tell me that your son that's 5'11", $190, if that, can come back right in and play and even get snaps to even think about getting snaps coming in as a freshman. And I'm not just saying that for controversy. I'm just saying Chad has to really watch some of the things that he's saying and doing, because sometimes it seems like he's contradicting himself as a coach when he says, okay, he makes comments about the youth and inexperience, but yet you continue to see these freshmen get their way on the field. So now I think you just let the dogs off the chain. You have to say, like you've been saying in the show, make that youth movement and don't look back. Don't make an excuse. Just let them go. If I'd rather somebody make a mistake going 100% than put somebody out there that's going to give me half effort and still make the same mistake.
If a puppy going to bite, he going to bite when he's small. If that puppy don't bite, he's not going to bite when he's big. I mean, that's just point blank period. And that's what we're talking about with these freshmen. If they're going to have a strike to them and have an immediate impact like the Traylon Burks and the Trey Knoxes and the Mateus Solis, those guys, they're going to do it at right here in their true freshman year. I mean, but I think, these last 4 games, you need to play all your 52 underclassmen and get a lot of reps and get a lot of game film, and then sit down at the end of the conclusion of this year and be real with yourself on players that should be here and players that you may need to help go somewhere else to bring in players. This is the SEC, guys. This and in particular the SEC West. It's the toughest division in all of college football. Now, people may say, well, the record. They beat up on each other in this conference. They beat up in the West. I mean, you look at the recruiting class. You look at the top 10. You look at the top 13 this week. 3 of those are from the SEC West. So don't tell me that this conference is not the best or the division, because I see it each and every week. I'm not going to bite it. I'll go to my grave probably saying the SEC West is the best division in all of college football. It's proven. Week in and week out, year in and year out. It's proven. But so much for our rant today. Just a little bit. We didn't have much. But we want to thank you for all our viewers and listeners that checked us out here on our Monday recap of Razorback football. And we'll be back tomorrow. I want to give a shout out, as this would not be possible without Lindsay and Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. Locomotion, located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. Corey Beck's Custom Painting. And lastly, KDK's Chicken, located at 989 Razorback Road. Go see Keith and Kathy. Get your plate of that love. And remember, it's not your mama's. Best chicken and waffles in the South. But that'll do it until tomorrow when we come back with much, much more. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. You guys have a blessed one, and let's get it.